Where is she?
Mellow out, man. We can't talk business with you waving guns in people's faces. Your daughter's safe, Colonel. Whether she stays that way is up to you. My people got some business with you. And if you want your kid back, then you gotta cooperate. Right?
Wrong.
Sadistic Penguin Studios presents Yumper and Svo at the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
And Justin Svo Svoboda.
What, so I gotta sit here and eat dessert alone like I'm fucking Steven Glansberg?
It's almost time, so grab a drink. Get your popcorn ready and get comfortable to hear two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Welcome everybody to the live edition of Yumper and Svo at the Show, presented to you by Sadistic Penguin Studios. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Garcia, aka Yumper, and I'm with my other co-host, Justin Svo Svoboda. How you doing, Mr. Svoboda?
Yump, I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am scrambling. I'm sorry, everybody, for being late. My computer has been, it's my additional storage space I had was acting up, so I couldn't pull from my old, I have a 7 terabyte storage space I use for just the show, especially since we do so much crap. And it was giving me issues pulling from it. So that's why I had to restart my computer a couple times. So being late is my fault.
They know in the chat already that it wasn't a Mac product that did it.
Well, it wasn't a Windows product either, because this product actually can go both on PC and Mac. So it's actually the terabyte fucking storage center.
I was just busting balls.
No, so that is my fault, people. But I've been doing well. I just got done basically writing the paper of my life. I wrote 36 pages in the last 3 days.
36?
Yeah. I messaged Beef Loaf and was telling him I was procrastinating, and then I started hammering it out on Friday until like 2 a.m. I uploaded it. It was 36 pages. So if he gives me an F, I don't know.
Oh man, you've been like, I don't want to say like, not because it's derogatory, but like you've been MIA in the group chats all weekend because you've been, and it's for a good cause. You've been like busting your ass doing homework.
Yeah, this usually when school starts, like you probably see it on the channel, but it's my content kind of wails down a little bit, and it's because between school, trying to prepare for the pod, and then work, Sox games, it kind of takes away a lot of my time.
A wife, a kid,
wife, kid,
things like
that as well. Like I don't know why it wasn't on the top of my head, but it should have been. But yeah, stuff like that takes away my times. But now that I'm done, I can start pushing out more content.
It's all good, man. We know, and what content you put out is awesome. So
appreciate it, man. Everything you put out as well is awesome too. But guys, I know you're here for the episode. You've been waiting for a while. Let's get into what we've been watching. Start us off, Swole.
So you know me, I go to the theater 2 or 3 times a week with my A-list, and I went to go see the new Jennifer Lawrence movie, No Hard Feelings, and I went to go see the new Wes Anderson movie, Asteroid City. One of these movies was really good, and the other one was kind of cheeks. And when I say kind of cheeks, it was cheeks. Asteroid City was really good. Very, very typical Wes Anderson movie. Cast was great. Set pieces were beautiful. The way the movie was shot was absolutely gorgeous. No Hard Feelings was cheeks. It was billed as this R-rated raunchy comedy, and it wasn't. It was this weird dramedy that not what I was expecting at all. And I love like a good R-rated comedy. And this was not it. Jennifer Lawrence was funny in some parts, but not that great. What about you, Yump?
Yeah, so No Hard Feelings, I kind of got that vibe from the previews. I kind of told you this when we were talking. Like, it looks like they were kind of forcing it really, really hard. It's a comedy.
And they were forcing it, and it just wasn't a comedy. Like, if they would have built it as like, this overcoming, like, I don't want to say objections, but overcoming these obstacles in your life, like dramedy, it would have been different. But they built it as a raunchy R-rated comedy, like, Super Bad or Knocked Up, and it wasn't at all.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So what I watched this week, starting off, I actually went and rewatched The Drop. This is my brother's a big fan of this movie with James Gandolfini and Tom Hardy. It's something a little bit different. And the fact that James Gandolfini does play like that New York type character, but he plays like a degenerate. And and it kind of reminded me back to Killing Them Softly with Brad Pitt when he plays Jackie, an alcoholic like hitman. Here he kind of plays a degenerate in here, and you kind of feel bad for him, even though he's kind of a slime ball. And it was actually Gandolfini's last movie, and I'm a real big fan of it. If you haven't seen it drop, it's like it's not Oscar worthy, but it's a good movie to watch.
So I don't think I've actually seen it. And when I was doing the PowerPoint, I saw that from the writer of Mystic River and Gone Baby Gone, and it makes me want to go watch it. So I might actually do that tonight.
Yeah, check it out, man. It's a nice little movie to watch.
Yeah.
And then with you saw this as well.
Absolutely.
I saw The Flash, and I saw it Friday, the day after it was released. Not to give away spoilers. Did I think it was horrible? No. I've seen a lot worse Marvel movies and DC movies, to be honest with you, than The Flash. Did I think it was great? No. I thought it was in the middle. I thought it was what it was. I think if Ezra Miller wasn't in this movie, it would have been 10 times better, because I think his public life overshadows his acting in here, and he is a good actor. Take away all his personal things, he's a good actor.
He really is.
I couldn't get the fact that he's a piece of shit out of my head. So he kind of killed it a little bit for me in the movie. Having Keaton back, and you know how I feel about Keaton. I think Keaton's the best Batman. I know we disagree on that, but having him back just made me feel like awesome. I wanted him, like everything scene he did, it brought me back to my childhood first watching Batman. I know my friend I was with my buddy Johnny. We were watching. That's like our favorite part of the movie is Keaton.
Yeah. So obviously everyone knows how I feel about Batman. I'm sitting in the theater with my wife, and I think we went to like a 9:30 show. And she looks over, and when Keaton pops on the screen for the first time, and he's in like a full Big Lebowski like bathrobe and sandals and like beard, and I knew it was coming. And I'm not gonna lie, that was the best part of the movie. I cried a little bit, like seeing Keaton back up on the screen. I think that this movie suffers from the same things that we talked about in the MCU, right? I have multiverse fatigue. Like, I think it's a cop-out with storytelling. And there are some people that tell the story really, really well, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then there's people that just use it as a way to, oh, he woke up and it was all a dream, right? And this feels like multiverse overload to me. And, we did it in the MCU, and now DC's doing it, and it was too much. And I do think Ezra Miller's like off-screen issues overshadowed what should have been a decent movie.
Yeah, it totally, it did. And the fact that the movie is not, the movie was made for 200 million, I believe.
It's a bomb.
And it's made only 245 million. It's not counting advertising,
right?
Outside rights. And the part that really irritates me about the fact, I don't want to ramble on this too much because we can do a whole episode on this, but it irritates me is that it bombed, and there was in talks to have a Batman Beyond movie with Keaton starring in it as old Batman, and I thought that would have been great.
Kevin Smith kind of leaked that news. He's like, the Warner Brothers exec said, if this movie hits at the box office, you're going to see a Batman Beyond movie. Now, I still would love to see a Batman Beyond movie, because this was not Keaton and Batman's fault.
No.
But it is what it is. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I still pre-ordered it on iTunes just to have it, but
yeah. And it just pisses me off because they wasted Keaton twice.
Absolutely.
Batgirl, they took him away, and in this movie, but what are you gonna do? I mean, hopefully James Gunn gets this right. And if you look at I don't want to spoil anything, but he cut out a lot of stuff that was supposed to happen and intertwine with other movies as the post-credit scenes.
The cameos were dope, and the final post-credit scene was really funny. Yes,
but he cut out two of them that were supposed to happen to intertwine with other movies that he just killed on the franchise.
Yeah.
But I digress. If you see it, let us know. This is what we've been watching all week. Tweet us at Yumper and Svo on Twitter if Twitter is still working, or you can just email us at Yumper at sadisticpenguinstudios.com or Svo at sadisticpenguinstudios.com. But with that, let's go into our meat and potatoes of the show, Svo.
Let's do it. Sounds delicious.
So as you know, me and Svo did a show called Seagal versus Van Damme, which did pretty well in terms of views. It still is, actually. So we decided to do another one, and let's have Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, it's time! Ladies and gentlemen.
Brian having it on a repeat. I got to turn it off. But yeah, so as Bruce Buffer says, we have two heavyweights of the 1980s and basically till today that when you talked action films, you talked either Stallone or Schwarzenegger, and sometimes Van Damme, as Bart Simpson liked to say. These are the two big heavyweights of that era, and they continue to be. They're put in movies now. They still make money. To go a little back to Sylvester Stallone, he was nominated for 3 Oscars. He's won a Golden Globe for Creed. Golden Globe, I'm sorry. As an actor, he's grossed over $7 billion, and he take out the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, about 5.6. That's how much his movies have grossed, 5.6 billion.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and as far as Arnold, Arnold hasn't won that many awards. He's won an Emmy for a documentary, but him himself, and he's been in way less films, has grossed 5.4 billion in 45 films.
Does that include the Batman movies?
Yes, it does. It does include it. So just to give a little tidbits on this, these are 11 movies we picked to go up against each other. There's just too many to figure out what's going to pair against. We paired the best ones we could against them, so there might be some left out. But with that, we're going to get into right away these 4 movies. So Schwarzenegger's The Predator, Schwarzenegger's Twins, Stallone's Ants, and The Suicide Squad. We figured these are their best movies in terms of kind of type of different genres, and we both gave them 2 points apiece to start off with. What do you think about that as well?
I think I agree. The only thing, and I thought about this afterwards, is that on one side of this battle, there needs to be a Christmas movie that gives Arnold another point, and that's Jingle All the Way.
Yes, we're going to put Jingle All the Way on the side for now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Because
I know we're going to get shit about another movie that's not in here. So, yeah, we can hold that one off. But for now, Stallone 2, Schwarzenegger 2.
All right, we got an even playing field. And Johnny, you can come on whenever you want, buddy. Johnny, you can come on whenever you want. Let's hit the DMs and let's make it happen. Let's get you on another episode.
Yes.
We also need Jason on at some point. He's the only one that hasn't been on yet.
Every time we try to get him on, he's like, I can't.
He doesn't like me. He calls me fat all the time.
Bastard. But with that, though, let's get into this matchup. And we're going to start with our first movie.
In the field, we had a code of honor. You watch my back, I watch yours. Back here, there's nothing.
1982's First Blood, directed by Ted Kockeff, who also directed Weekend at Bernie's, or AKA Weekend at Chirizi's. And it's based off the First Blood novel by David Morrell, starring Sylvester Stallone, Brian Dennehy, and Richard Serena. Also, a young David Caruso appears in this movie as well. This movie had a box office of $125.2 million and a $15 million budget. Swole, tell me about First Blood.
Man, Rambo First Blood was a movie that was always on WGN, like late afternoon, Saturday night, and I watched the shit out of this movie. This movie created an action star. I think it's fantastic. This was probably my first introduction to Stallone, if I'm being honest. What about you?
So my first introduction to Stallone was, of course, Rocky, and then it was Paradise Alley before I watched the Rambo series. Paradise Alley is a horrible movie, but Rocky was probably my first introduction, and then this was my third one. This one I think is really shows Stallone's acting chops.
And it's got my favorite actor, Dennehy, in it.
Yes, Brian Dennehy's another underrated actor. Gladiator, 1992, great movie.
James Marshall, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yes, sir. But this is like shows his. I think Rocky kind of showed like what he's capable of. This movie kind of put it forward of like him being a troubled character. And in the book that this movie is based off, John Rambo is not a likable character. He's just a killing machine. Stallone wanted to have him as a person who was, stuck in that time, could not get over PTSD. And it's something that, I personally have family members who've dealt with PTSD from the war, and it's horrible. It's an ongoing issue that people have dealt with that come back from wars. But I love Stallone acting in this whole movie. I think it was done great. I find it hilarious that Kurt Russell was actually in talks to play John Rambo, but his stickler on playing the role was that John Rambo had to die like in a novel. Stallone didn't want that, so they kept him. They kept Stallone in there. Al Pacino was considered, and to give like a little feedback on what the author thought of this movie, he says this movie is better than his novel, which I thought is a very, very high praise.
That's high praise. I also love that you talked about like they gave a human element to Rambo and the PTSD, and it also showcased how like veterans were treated when they got home or whatever. Because Dennehy was a dick to Rambo in this movie, and it made him snap. I think this is an elite movie. Now I don't know how you feel about Conan, but I know which way I'm leaning. How about you?
I kind of know, but let's go into our next movie that it's going against.
Wrong! Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. That is good.
1982's Conan the Barbarian, directed by John Milius, who wrote and directed Red Dawn, Homefront, the video game, and Apocalypse Now. He was a writer for that. He also did a screenplay for Clear and Present Danger, Magnum Force, Jeremiah Johnson, Dirty Harry, and The Emperor. This movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Earl Jones, Sadal Bergman, and Max von Sydow. This movie had a box office of $68.8 million and a $20 million budget. Swole, tell me about Conan.
I think this movie is not my favorite. I think it's corny. I think that these types of stories are not for me. I get the crowd that likes these types of things, but like this is not my favorite Arnold movie. What about you?
So first things about this movie is when I was doing research for this, they said that Arnold practiced very hard to change his Austrian accent. Like he was with a coach day in, day out for 3 months, getting his English correct. And the more I think about it right now, like I once had somebody tell me that Arnold's accent is so thick, it sounds like he's talking with shit in his mouth. And it's like, man, he practiced that hard to sound like he did that. Oh man, like imagine what it would have sounded without that. But definitely not my favorite Arnold role. I think it's iconic because Conan is an iconic character. Arnold had to sign on to the other sequels of this film, which I thought was crazy. He couldn't do any other films without a sword unless it was released. Like he did Red Sonja with Bridget Nielsen later. But he couldn't do any of those roles without it being released by a studio for him to do so. This is the movie that made Arnold. This is the movie that brought him to prominence besides his
Pumping Iron
documentary and Hercules in New York, which is a horrible movie. But this is a movie that, and he says this is like a gift from God that got him on the map. So I understand the nostalgia and the impact it made on his career. It's just not my favorite Arnold film.
I agree.
So for that, Swole, who are you gonna go for this battle?
I'm going Stallone all the way with this.
I am also going Stallone. So with that, Stallone will take a 3-2 lead against Arnold. And if you guys disagree with us, let us know on the Twitters or in the comments. Probably in the comments better because Twitter might crash.
Yep.
But
Blue sky.
Let's go into our next battle.
I mean, look at this shit here. What is this? This is, shouldn't this be in the lockup? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys are the experts. Maybe you don't need me.
1994 is The Specialist, directed by Luis Llosa, who also directed Sniper and Swole's favorite movie, Anaconda, starring Sylvester Stallone, James Woods, Rob Steiger, Mario Ernest Sanchez, and Eric Thomas. This movie had a budget of $45 million and a box office, Eric Roberts, I don't know why it says Thomas, and a box office of $170 million. Swole, tell me about The Specialist.
I got to be honest with you. I don't remember much about The Specialist. I remember that he's a CIA operative and it's in South America. And it just felt like a very, I don't know, it felt like, every other CIA extradition movie that came out around that time where Eraser was something different. So that's what I remember of The Specialist. You have the memory for action movies like this. What do you remember about The Specialist?
So I actually rewatched this movie when I was doing my notes today. Finished it today. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be, as I remember it, and it's kind of horrible because it has James Woods in it, Sharon Stone. This is like peak Sharon Stone. This is Sharon Stone after Basic Instinct.
Casino must have just come out or was on the verge of coming out.
Casino comes out, I believe, the next year in '95.
Yeah.
So this is like peak Stone. Stallone took this role to within 15 minutes, which I thought was hilarious when they gave it to him, because they told him that if you don't take it, we're not going to deal with this. The Hughes brothers were supposed to direct this, but Steven Seagal got attached, and they're like, "Fuck that." Mario Van Peebles basically said, "I'm not doing this movie," and that kind of tells you what kind of movie it is. It is what it is. I think it tried to be a little too serious. Definitely not my favorite Stallone movie. I can see where they were going, but even Sharon Stone and Sylvester Stallone couldn't say this. Also, Rod Steiger, who most people might remember from Mars Attack as one of the generals, he plays like a Latino in here, and his fucking accent is horrible. It's like worse than Al Pacino's.
Ooh.
So I watched it today. I'm like, my God. And he's like Scottish. So I'm like, you can, whatever.
That's why you're able to focus on your homework, because you put on a piece of shit movie and then you're just like, yeah, I don't need to.
Yeah, it was, it just wasn't that good. I tried to like it. I tried to go through it again. I just looking through like the trivia, people were saying they're happy that Stallone's cat survives. And I'm like, that cat was not even like a second thought in my mind. I could give two shits about the cat.
It's not like the dog in I Am Legend. And I know how you feel about Will Smith, but like you didn't want anything to happen to the dog in I Am Legend.
Definitely not. I mean, I can't hate the dog in that movie. I just hate Will Smith.
I know. Well, I just don't like Will Smith in general anymore.
Yeah, but definitely not my favorite Stallone movie because it's going up against this one.
He killed you, and they turned on each other.
Right. Those sons of bitches.
1996. This is The Eraser, directed by Chuck Russell, The Scorpion King. He also did The Mask, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Blessed Child, and he did the reimagining of The Blob. This movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vanessa Williams, and James Caan. It had a budget of $100 million and made a box office of $242 million. So, Swole, tell me about Eraser.
So Eraser came out in a time in Arnold's career where he was just absolutely on fire. It came out in 96, right? And he had just done what? True Lies, Last Action Hero, Terminator 2, Kindergarten Cop, Total Recall, like just boom, 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 boom. And, he plays another like CIA operative that specializes in witness protection and erasing their lives. Vanessa Williams was actually pretty good in this movie, right? Like, I enjoyed this movie. It's a very, very 90s action flick. And when I say that, I mean that with the utmost respect. It's not as good as something like Speed, but it's a fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about this movie is Sly was actually offered this role.
Seems like there's a reoccurring theme in some of these.
And he hated the script. And he turned it down for another film that we're going to talk about later, which is Copland. That's kind of crazy. I didn't think this movie was bad.
No.
And to be honest with you, it hasn't aged horribly. I mean, there's a part where they're using 3D facial regeneration, and that actually happens nowadays in real life. Also, real military technology was used for the guns and whatnot, so I thought that was kind of cool. I love Arnold when he's killing bad guys. This one kind of had a better story to it than The Specialist for sure, because Arnold actually was a guy who put people in the witness protection program, and it was kind of cool how he killed people to make him look like they died, vice versa. And while The Specialist was just this Stone's family got killed, and she wanted to kill all the people that killed them with Eric Roberts.
It was like The Punisher, but with Eric Roberts and Sharon Stone. And I don't mean like the comic book Punisher. I mean like the John Travolta Punisher.
Oh my God. When he throws a knife at the fucking table. That's the only thing I remember from that movie. That part in Kevin Nash.
We should have, like Kevin Nash, but we should have seen that Travolta at some point was going to do that goddamn awful Gotti movie, because that's the same character he played in The Punisher.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just a bad movie. But in terms of this, if I have to choose, I'm going Arnold to tie it up at 3. What
I
about
would
you, Swole?
I would agree with you completely. Like I got to go 3-3.
Yeah. So with that, we have a tie of 3-3 on Arnold and Stallone. So more evenly matched than I thought going forward. And like we try to make, like I said, we try to make these movies a little different. Only movie you ever walked out on.
Honestly, Brian, it's not even the worst Punisher movie that Marvel's ever made. It's not even the second worst Punisher movie that Marvel's ever made. Like, I would say the Dolph Lundgren.
Don't talk crap about that.
I would say the Punisher Warzone with whatchamacallit from, I think he was in The Wire.
I forget, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, no, whatever. Like, the Dolph Lundgren one doesn't even feel like a Punisher movie. Like, I know it is in name, but it's not as bad. Like, I don't know. That's a whole other, like, yeah, basket of fruit.
The funny thing is, I said this before. My family used to go up to Wisconsin a lot, and a lot of my friends have trailers on a campground there. So we like cook out, swim, whatever. One of my close family members, they have an older, their grandmother. We call her Mamacita. She's like 90 now, and I remember like even when I was older, 21, 22, going into her trailer, and she'd be watching Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher because she loves Dolph Lundgren.
I just remember the VHS cover. I thought it was dope.
Yeah, she had it on VHS too, just one of those little TVs, and she just watched it, which cracked me up every time I went over.
That's fantastic.
But so it's tied 3-3. Let's go into our next round.
I just try to take my hat and I turn it around, and it's like a switch that goes on. And when the switch goes on, I feel like another person. I feel like a truck, machine.
1987's Over the Top, directed by Menahem Golan, who also directed Cobra, Life Force, and The Apple. This movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Robert Logosha, Rick Zumwalt, and David Mendenhall. This movie had a box office of $16 million on a $25 million budget. So, tell me about Over the Top.
That's a damn shame because Over the Top is fantastic. This is like peak Stallone, like corny 80s everything. He's a truck driver. He's got a kid. He's divorced. Robert Loggia. R as in Robert Loggia. O as in, oh my God, it's Robert Loggia. I love Over the Top. Like, I think that this movie is fantastic. It's corny. It's awful. But this is, like, I don't know, probably one of my favorite Stallone flicks. I watched this the other day in preparation for this episode, and it's still one of my favorite Stallone flicks.
So let's get this out of the way. This movie is cheesy as fuck. Like, no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely.
But it's iconic how cheesy it is. Going back and looking at the box office, I can see why it bombed. I mean, his name is, the names in here too are crazy. Lincoln Hawk. And like Bull, I forget the guy's name. Bull something is the main villain. But rewatching this, it was very enjoyable. And also shout out to Brian saying that Terry Funk's in this movie. He is in this movie. And that built the relationship for him to work on the Rocky movies with Stallone as a choreographer. He actually worked on Rocky V as the fight choreographer. Scott Norton, who was in NWO too in WCW, is in this movie.
He's such a douchebag, this kid.
Yeah.
Shankster's totally right. He's the worst kid ever.
Yeah. So the funny thing is his character kind of reminds me of what, if anybody has ever seen that movie Dutch with,
with Ethan Embry and
yes.
Ed O'Neill. I love it. And you can't find it digitally anywhere.
I know. That's a great movie. And it looks like they were trying to make him like Dutch was just a better version of that kid because Dutch was released later. But that's what kind of reminded me of. Yes. And Brian, Scott Norton is a legitimate world champion arm wrestler. But Over the Top is just corny, very enjoyable. It's one of those movies that you just turn off your brain to and really like.
It's fantastic. It's so bad it's good. It's yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably the best gist of it that we can describe. Let's go into its challenger.
You go in the car, I'll go get us something to eat. Don't worry, I'll get you something healthy, something from all 4 food groups. Hamburger, french fries, coffee, and donuts.
1988's Red Heat, directed by Walter Hill, who also directed The Warriors, 48 Hours, Streets of Fire, Crossroads, which is a great underrated classic, and he was a producer on all the Alien and Prometheus films. This movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jim Belushi, Lawrence Fishburne, Gina Gershwin, Peter Boyle, and Edo Ross. This movie had a budget of 29 million, a box office of 35 million. Let me first we'll go with this. Red Heat is not a bad movie. I fucking hate Jim Belushi.
Yep, that's exactly it. You hit it on the head. This movie would have won if Jim Belushi wasn't in it. Jim Belushi is a fucking meathead. Hey, let's have a deep dish pizza and root for the Bears. Like, I fucking hate Jim Belushi. My dad hates Jim Belushi. He's the fucking worst.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of his work. The only movie I like with Jim Belushi is Mr. Destiny, and that's only because I watched it so many times.
Well, and the Cubs.
No, he likes the Cubs. Yes.
Yeah. No. Was it Mr. Destiny or was it Taking Care of Business with Mark Grace in it? Mark Grace was in one of those movies because they were buddies. Like, oh man, fuck Jim Belushi, dude. I hate Jim Belushi.
Yeah, Jim Belushi's not Curly Sue. I've seen that movie maybe one time, Brian. I just can't get. I think if anybody like Brian, we had this argument about Brandon Lee and his death propelling The Crow, which I disagree with. Jim Belushi got really, really, lucky that his brother was John Belushi. That to get him in, like, I don't think anything he's done is very, even matches the artwork of his brother. And that's kind of hard because John Belushi's a comedic legend, but Jim's just very unlikable. I find it hilarious that at the end of this movie, they're watching the White Sox against the Tigers, and the White Sox are playing like shit because I watched some of that game today and they were, they won today, but the last two games in Oakland, they played like shit. So I thought that was hilarious that they're watching the White Sox and Harold Baines flies out to the left. And Jim Belushi's a Cubs fan, which
I can't get over that Jim Belushi's in this movie. Like, I know it's 1988, 87.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't look past. I shouldn't say get over. I can't look past that Belushi's in this movie. So Stallone goes up 4-3 in my book.
Yeah, I can't go against over the top in this one. So I have to go with Stallone for this one. I mean, like I said, if Jim Belushi wasn't in this, it would be a tougher call for me.
If it would have been anybody else, if it would have been fucking you as a fetus, like, it would have been better than Belushi.
Definitely. Like, he just kills it for me. And I'm sorry, he just does. And I don't hate Jim Belushi. I just don't like, I don't like him as an actor in the movie.
I don't know him personally. He might be a nice guy. I think my wife's family all went to Wheaton Morinville South with both of the Belushis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're really nice guys, but no, it's not for me.
Definitely not. It's just not type of movie that, like, I don't know, Arnold does play a good role as a Russian. I'll give him that. And the bad guy is bad.
He really stretched his acting limits there.
He totally did. But yeah, this one I have to give Stallone 4-3.
I usually love any movie that takes place in Chicago because it's cool to like showcase like our beautiful city, but fuck Jim Belushi.
It's kind of funny that like this movie takes place in Chicago and then Arnold did Raw Deal.
Yeah.
And that movie takes place in Chicago. The only thing is he works for the FBI this time and is going up against the mob, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, so in our recap, right now we have Stallone up 4 to Arnold's 3. Let's get into round 4.
Get them to daylight. Don't let them die in this place. Yeah?
1996's Daylight, directed by Rob Cohen, who also directed Dragonheart, Stealth, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Apparently he likes movies with Dragon in it. Triple X. The movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Amy Brennan, and Viggo Mortensen. The movie had a budget of $80 million and a box office of $159 million. So tell me about Daylight.
I don't remember Daylight very much except for it being on VHS. I know that they're trapped in the tunnels of is it New York City? Or
yeah,
in New Jersey.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's the Jersey Tunnel. I don't remember much of it, but I remember more of it than I do Sabotage. When you threw this at me on the list, I was like, what the fuck movie is this? I've never heard of it, so I don't know if Sabotage is good or if it's bad, but I know Daylight was kind of corny, and that's what I remember of it. Some of these movies I haven't seen in a long time. But if I'm not mistaken, Daylight was when Stallone was in his like peak Miramax deal. Like he did Copland, he did another one. And this just isn't like it didn't hold up.
Yeah. So Daylight, I thought it wasn't that great of a movie. It was cliffhanger basically in tunnels. That's what it reminded me of. I wasn't really a big fan. It's a whole point about nuclear waste trying to go through these tunnels. I forget exactly where it's at. The only thing I did like about the movie is that Sage Stallone's in it, and his dad is the
Rest in peace.
star. Say rest in peace to Sage. Also, commenting off this comment, Brandon Lee was a terrible actor. Anyone seen Showdown Little Tokyo agrees. Fuck you, dude. Showdown Little Tokyo was fucking awesome. Dolph Lundgren is awesome in that movie. It also got Shang Tsung in that movie. I forget his name. The Hawaiian actor. You know what I'm talking about, Swole.
I do.
I forget his name. He was in Johnny Tsunami too.
Yeah.
But I love Showdown Little Tokyo. I actually have the movie on DVD.
I like Showdown in Little Tokyo. I like Rapid Fire. I love The Crow, right? Like, I like Brandon Lee movies. He would have been a massive star if he didn't die on the set of The Crow.
I believe so too. But since you haven't seen, Sabotage, check out this clip from it.
Saving these adrenaline junkies that mean absolutely nothing to this department.
I would take a bullet for this, guys.
You take a bullet? Would you take 10 million bucks? Would you take 10 million? Where's the money?
Don't fucking scream at me.
Where's the
you
money?
Dumb fuck you. Look at you with your fucking 48% body fat and you scroungy little bastard. Fuck you guys.
Go to the gym, John.
With your fucking 48% body, with your fucking 48% body, with your fucking 48% body.
Yeah, that has like a little repeat at the end I thought was hilarious. So 2014 Sabotage, directed by David Ayer. Who also directed Fury.
Fury's a whole different movie, buddy.
Yeah. Fury, End of Watch, Street Kings, which is another one of my favorites, Suicide Watch, Bright, which is a horrible movie, The Tax Collector, another horrible movie, and Harsh Times, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sam Worthington, Terrence Howard, Olivia Williams, Morel Enos, and Joe Manganiello. So this movie had a budget of $35 million and only made a box office of $22 million. So I remember, this movie was being promoted a lot on everything. I think Arnold and Joe Manganiello actually went on WWF television to promote this movie. I like this movie a lot because Arnold plays an anti-hero in this movie. It's about basically he's a part of the extraction team with the DEA that goes and busts up drug dealers, and $10 million goes missing, and his whole team is under investigation. And as the movie progresses and continues, people are dying from his team, and they're trying to figure out who's killing them. If it's people that they stole the money from, or people that stole the money from them, vice versa. It's a big ongoing investigation that has like a twist ending at the end. I really liked the movie. It brought me back to how Arnold was pre action days. It's kind of when Arnold was slowing down. Like it's 2014, so he's older. I thought it was a very good role. It's got some funny scenes in it. Joe Manganiello is one of my favorite actors now. I actually like him because I think he's hilarious. Just as a type of person he is. Terrence Howard is great in this movie. It's not a great Oscar classic, but it's a nice movie to check out that you haven't seen before.
Yeah. So the guy that wrote it is David Ayer, and David Ayer did Harsh Times with Christian Bale, and he wrote Training Day, and he's written some really good movies. So I can see that it being, and I like the Tax Collector. I didn't hate it.
I don't know. Shiloh's needs.
You don't like Shia LaBeouf?
No, I like Shiloh. I think he's got another fucked up personal life, but
yeah,
I think he's a very good actor. I just think his role, he just played Padre Pio. I tried watching that, and I'm like, I just can't. His role decisions are kind of out there. But yeah,
I would give this a whirl strictly because David Ayer wrote it. Did David Ayer direct it too, Yump?
Yes, he did direct it.
I would give it a whirl just because he did it, and End of Watch, Harsh Time, Street Kings, Brooklyn's Finest. And the only one I'm going to hold against him is that first Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Because he wrote that too. I don't know if he directed that, but he writes some good fucking movies. He knows how to write. He knows how to write cop movies and good action flicks.
Yeah, and Street Kings is one of my. It's one that doesn't really get talked about a lot with Keanu Reeves and Chris Evans.
Brooklyn's Finest too, with Richard Gere. That was another good one.
It's another good one. Yeah, so if we have to choose on this one, I knew I was going to go Sabotage when we made the list for this one because Daylight, I tried watching it again. It's fucking horrible. Sabotage is a good movie, so I highly recommend you check that one out.
And then I think we're just going to go with what you say here because I haven't seen it yet. So
Yeah, so if we're gonna go with what I say, then it's all tied up 4-4, and Arnold has tied the belt right now.
The
So
Italian Stallion. He's tied the Italian Stallion.
yes, so let's go in to our next one.
You can't stop the new world. Your filthy society will never get rid of people like us. It's breeding them. We are the future.
No!
1986's Cobra, directed by George P. Cosmatos, who also directed Rambo: First Blood Part 2, Of Unknown Origin, and Leviathan. This movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Bridget Nielsen, Renee Santoni, and Brian S. Thompson. The movie had a budget of $25 million and a box office of $49 million. So for this one, Cobra is a terrible movie I love. Yes,
you
it
do.
is.
We know that you love this movie.
So this is a hard matchup. Well, everybody, all right, let's just put all cards on the table. Fucking Running Man is going to win this.
I'm going. Yeah, I gotta go. Running Man's fantastic.
But Cobra is not as bad as people think it is. Cobra, I just love the way they were going for having it as a serial killer, a cult. It was supposed to be 3 hours long, and they cut it down because it was being censored by the MPAA, which I wish they would release the cut, because Stallone has teased it for years that they're going to release the actual, big time cut, and they haven't done it.
Release the Cosmatos cut.
Yes, release the director's cut. Yeah,
which is what's funny, because you know what's going to happen in the next 4 weeks from what I'm hearing, right?
What?
There is a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever that is coming out. HBO has it, and it's happening.
Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
No, but it's just funny that this came up, and then the release the cut joke came up. I don't know. I'd watch it. I like these Stallone action flicks. It's not that bad. It's not that good. But I'm going Running Man.
Yes, but so let's just get into our challenger here.
You cold-blooded bastard. I'll tell you what I think of it. I live to see you eat that contract. But I hope you leave enough room for my fist, because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine!
1987's The Running Man, directed by Paul Michael Glaser, who also directed The Air Up There, a cinema classic, Kazam, and Third Watch, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Maria Conchita Alonso, Yaphet Kotto, Jesse Ventura, and Richard Dawson. It had a budget of $27 million and a box office of $38 million. Swole, tell me about The Running Man.
What's funny is in the poster for this movie, this movie is a post up, a distant future, and it's fucking 2019. In the poster, it says the year is 2019. And it's a Stephen King story, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on this game show in 2019, and he's got to survive all these challenges and stay alive. It's almost it's fucking really good. It's really fun. I love this movie.
Definitely. I love this movie just for the puns alone.
Yeah. And the hockey
yes.
scene.
Sub-Zero is now no zero or negative zero. That line, Richard Dawson's character, he was on Family Feud and everybody loved him. And in this movie, he's a complete asshole. What apparently he really was in real life to his staff.
Right.
I love the Bachman novel, the Stephen King novel. It's very good. This movie basically has very little to do with it besides the title. It has some concepts of it, but it's still fun. And I think King came out and said that he actually liked the movie as well. It's kind of funny that Rob Cohen bought this movie, the rights to this movie, and he didn't even know the book was written by Stephen King. He didn't know who Richard Bachman was. So it's kind of funny there. But I think this movie is hilarious. Mick Fleetwood actually is in this movie as the guy who leads the underground, the leader of the underground, Mick. That's Mick Fleetwood. So that's funny.
Nice.
Speaking of Dolph Lundgren, he was actually up for consideration for the lead character role. And I don't think anybody could have done it besides Arnold.
No.
It's just, this movie just has so many, it's so corny.
He filled out the yellow tights really good.
Yes. And then you have Jesse Ventura as the main guy, Jim Brown.
Yeah.
As a fireball, you have the opera singer. That it's just it's so corny, but it's so good. I laugh every time I watch it.
I agree.
I love this. Richard Dawson, get your fat ass back behind the podium and wait for it's time to play the fucking feud. Oh my God, Brian. But yeah, we said it already. there's no way Cobra's winning this. It went up against a monster.
It did. You picked this matchup, so
yeah, it was. I mean, I just wanted to pick Cobra to put Cobra to give some time to Cobra, but there's no way in hell Cobra was going to win this. So
no,
we both go the Running Man's, and that puts the score up 5-4 in favor of Arnold. Let's go into our next challenge.
You know the difference between men and boys? Boys bet everything on everything. Boys think every hand is a royal flush. You play cards with a man. He knows his limits.
1997's Copland, directed by James Mangold, who also directed Logan, Walk the Line, and Ford versus Ferrari. This movie has an all-star cast of Robert De Niro, Sylvester Stallone, Ray Liotta, Michael Rappaport, and Harvey Keitel. It has a box office of $44 million on a $15 million budget. Very small compared to the star power in this movie. First of all, these two movies are going against each other, as you can see on the screen. If you're listening to this on audio, you'll hear the next movie it's going up against. Two totally different movies, but they're both very good in their own way.
Yeah.
This movie, I see again, this leans on Stallone's acting chops as a fat police officer. And he says he got that way from eating a bunch of pancakes.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. I think that, Stallone is great in this movie. I love the actual concept and plot in this movie, as it's about dirty cops, but in a certain way of, they actually turn on their own, which I thought was pretty crazy. Michael Rappaport, he's a comedian mostly, but he doesn't get enough credit for his, acting skills. He does a very good job as kind of like the cop that is kind of an asshole, but you kind of feel bad for him towards the end of the movie. Harvey Keitel is a dick among the best, like one of the best actors.
One of the best.
A dick, and Robert De Niro, does his best as a tough guy cop. Ray Liotta, can't say much more about him. He's a legend. The way it's one of his, the way he acts. Great character actor. It's like a great mixture for a stew of, awesomeness in this movie. I really like Copland.
I do too. Also, Yump, I had an epiphany here looking at the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And we got our boy in the chat, Dougie Fresh, who he's the man, right? Like, we love Dougie. Dougie's our homie. But I have an idea. And Dougie, hear me out. What if we did food movies with Dougie Fresh?
Oh, that would actually be a good one.
That's a good idea, right? Can we do food movies with Dougie Fresh? Like this amazing cook, like this amazing chef. Let's get Dougie in to do food movies.
Dougie, will you cook for us? No, you
Dougie's already cooked for us.
Yeah, I'm just messing around, Dougie. But yeah, Dougie, Dougie, reach out to us, man. Text us. We can do something like that.
I think that's a great idea. But let's get back to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Copland is a fantastic movie. Like, it's a great movie with a great ensemble cast and a great storytelling, and Stallone can act. It's just going up against an absolute juggernaut in this competition, and it's one of Arnold's best movies. I'm not going to say it's his best movie, but it's also him partnered with an actor or a director that knows him very, very well and knows how to use him. I love this movie. I tried to watch it today, and it's another one that is not available digitally anywhere.
Because
the
TV, about it.
Well, because the TV show that CBS bought the rights to, and the 20th Century Fox merger with Disney, and it's just not available digitally anymore. I looked. I would have put it in my Movies Anywhere account for everybody to use.
Yeah, but let's get into that movie, what we're going up against.
My turn to drive?
Give me the page.
What are you talking about?
Jump from page 9 to page 11. Where's page 10?
It's got to be a typo.
Give me the goddamn page.
Okay.
1994's True Lies, directed by James Cameron, who also was director of the first two Terminators, along with producing Dark Fate. He did Alien and Aliens, Titanic, Avatar. The guy is like one of the greatest directors of all time. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bill Paxton, Tia Carrere, Art Malik, and Tom Arnold. This movie had a budget of $115 million and a box office of $378 million. Swole, tell me about True Lies.
True Lies is just a fantastic, like, CIA operative action movie where he keeps it a secret from his wife. Jamie Lee Curtis is like peak in this. Like, it's just a great movie.
Yeah.
What did Brian text you?
No, he just put the line about Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, her head's definitely in his lap. Maybe she's sleepy.
I just think it's really, really good. Bill Paxton plays this scuzzy used car salesman that tries to pick up Jamie Lee Curtis, and like he really is just a douchebag, and he plays the role perfectly. This is just a great movie. It's one of Arnold's best performances
by far. So True Life, like everybody knows the Jamie Lee Curtis strip tease dance, which was hilarious. And if you haven't seen the movie, like people think it's misogynistic, but it's actually like shot with comedy because she's supposed to be this awkward woman,
like this awkward soccer mom.
Yeah, it's coming out of her shell. And like she even went on record saying that this was the greatest experience of her professional life so far to be in this movie. I remember at an awards ceremony where she was presenting, and they actually had the helicopter scene of where she was lowered from a helicopter, like a prop helicopter, onto stage, as a tribute to this movie. I like this movie a lot. It's also got a young Eliza Dushku in it.
His daughter.
Yeah, Tom Arnold. Like, say what you will about Tom Arnold's comedy, I think he's hilarious. He played the way he plays with Schwarzenegger is what Belushi should have done with Schwarzenegger. He's a more likable partner to Belushi was in Red Heat. Like, I think Red Heat with Tom Arnold would have been better than Jim Belushi.
Maybe you're not wrong.
But this movie is one of Cameron's best in terms of comedy. He makes this movie. He totally does. Like, he totally makes this movie. Tom Arnold does. My only issue is this is a juggernaut, but it's also going up against Copland. And I thought about this really try because I love both movies. And I'm going to have to go with Copland on this one because I think for what it is, Copland, I think it has a better story. It's got, megastars and actors. Schwarzenegger has already kind of done the cop movie, even though this is the best one. What does besides this?
Yeah, like what?
Oh my god! All right.
I don't know who this is. Do you?
No.
Okay, it's got to be a bot.
Yeah. So in terms of, I would say better movie. I'm going Copland for me. So I would give this one to Sly. So I think this, to me personally, when I was looking at this, I'm like, this might be the first movie that we're gonna have a tie on.
Watch it, ass blood. That's the. I think this is where we disagree a little bit. I love Copland. It's great. Like, I just like True Lies is iconic, I think. Like, yeah,
that's fine. That's totally fine. So with this one, we'll go with a tie for this one. So we'll tie that one. Arnold's still ahead 5-4 with the tie. Yeah, this was just a little too hard for me to pick. But I went with Copland for this one because
it's like
I said,
it's like picking who your favorite sadistic penguin is. Is it me? Is it Yump? Is it Brian? Like, you just can't do
definitely not me. I would have to say it's Tony Burt.
It's definitely Tony.
The nicest guy. Yeah. But yeah, that's just my choice. So right now, if we recap, we have Arnold up 5-4 and we have a tie. Let's get into our next round.
What's in them? None of your fucking business. Suits, socks, $100 million, the usual stuff.
1993's Cliffhanger, directed by Rennie Harlan, who also directed 12 Rounds, The Cleaner, and The Covenant, starring Sylvester Stallone, John Lithgow, Michael Rooker, and Janine Turner. Swole, tell me about Cliffhanger.
I remember Cliffhanger being a really fun, goofy action movie, like, mountain climbing, hanging off fucking ropes. Like, it's Mr. Hand. I remember it being really fun. And I remember I enjoyed it, but I want to save my pick until we get into what it's going up against.
Yeah. So Cliffhanger, to me, the movie made a ton of money. It made $255 million on a $70 million budget. I kind of find it hilarious when I was doing research that Stallone only took this role was to get over his fear of heights. So I'm like, okay. It has another actor that I love a lot, John Lithgow, who's another character actor, doesn't get enough credit. I thought he played the role great. Is it a great movie? Not really. It's okay. The crazy thing about the movie is it had the most expensive stunt of $1 million when they jump, I guess, from one mountain to another. I thought that was pretty cool. Christopher Walken was supposed to be John Lithgow's role, and he dropped out. So I couldn't imagine this movie with Christopher Walken and Sylvester Stallone because just the terms of dialogue would have been hilarious to me.
Oh, we got a Dexter reference in the chat. Like the Trinity Killer. That's a Dexter season 4 reference.
Yes. John Lithgow. Oh, man. He's so good.
He really is.
But, I don't want to get to my pick yet until we go later. But Cliffhanger was okay. It made a lot of money. It wasn't Stallone was in his prime. But that movie is going up against this one.
You think you're funny, don't you?
I know I am. I'm the famous comedian Arnold Braunschweiger.
Schwarzenegger.
Gesundheit.
Last Action Hero, made in 1993, directed by John McTiernan, who also wrote Basic, the horrible Rollerball remake. He directed Predator, Hunt for Red October, and directed Die Hard 1 and Die Hard 3. The movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, F. Murray Abraham, Art Carney, Robert Prosky, Bridget Wilson in her film debut, Anthony Quinn, Austin O'Brien, and Frank McRae. The movie had a budget of $85 million and a box office of $137 million. So, Swole, tell me about Last Action Hero.
Yump, you already know we've had this conversation before, but fuck this movie. Fuck this movie and its big stupid ass. This movie, man, I'm still not over that this movie came out either the week before or the same week as Jurassic Park. And I had to go spend the weekend with my fucking mother and my stepfather. My stepfather loves stupid action movies. And we couldn't go see Jurassic Park because this movie came out. So we went to go see this stupid fucking movie. And I hate it. I hate this movie and its big dumb ass.
So I knew that was coming, but the funny thing is I am not fucking choosing Cliffhanger over this movie.
Cliffhanger all day over this stupid movie.
I'm going with Last Action Hero. The reason being is it's stupid. It was a concept that was supposed to happen. Stallone's actually in Last Action Hero as the Terminator, which I thought was pretty funny. That's a funny part in the movie. It's so corny and so bad. It's stupid, but the song they play for Jack Slater, down. This it's a play off action movies being bad.
Right. And I get the concept, but I'm just not over it.
Brian says Last Action Hero is better than Jurassic Park. Oh my God. What the hell? Are you like high, Brian? Like, but I don't know. Last Action Hero is not a great movie. Don't get me wrong. Compared to Cliffhanger, I'm more entertained with Last Action Hero. And also, it's like so many like cliches and like that are in movies. It makes fun of them, like the typical of the hot cops. It has a fucking cartoon played by Danny DeVito in it. I thought the story with the
Danny DeVito's awesome. So
yeah, I thought the story with the ticket was kind of stupid. Art Carney's in the movie, if anybody knows him from The Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners, yeah.
Yeah, but is it a good movie? No. I just like it because it's supposed to be stupid, in my opinion. And I can see what Schwarzenegger was going for here. He was trying to make fun of himself. And he wanted the movie to be PG-13 because he wanted to go across a bunch of audiences. It's a kid's movie. It's a kid, like, mid-teens movie, I would say.
You know what else is a kid's movie? Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a kid's movie, Yump.
Yeah, but that movie's directed by Steven Spielberg. This movie is, like, directed by... Well, McTiernan did do Predator, so he gets credit there. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's better than Cliffhanger, in my personal opinion.
It probably is a better movie. I'm just bitter. That's all.
You can be bitter. It was, like Brian says, it was fun.
Wait, what does this mean? I love fun things. I don't understand what this means at all. Yump, like, I love fun things, right?
Yes, except when it comes to Last Action Hero.
Except for the Last Action Hero.
So I figured this one was going to be a tie because I'm not a big fan of Cliffhanger. I think it's Last Action Hero should win this round. But as a recap, we have Arnold still up by 5-4 and a tie. So let's see what happens in our next round.
You're going to regret this the rest of your life. Both seconds of it.
Demolition Man, released in 1994, directed by Marco Brambilla. And the crazy thing is, I looked up Marco Brambilla's other movies. He has done nothing significant, like, ever after this. So I don't know what the hell happened with him. But starring Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary, and Nigel Hawthorne. The movie had a $77 million budget and made $159 million at the box office. So tell me about Demolition Man.
Demolition Man is awesome. Wesley Snipes plays Dennis Rodman. Sylvester Stallone is cryogenically frozen. It's fantastic. And the reason that it's fantastic and that it wins this round, and we're not even talking about what goes up against, is that all the restaurants are Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's not going to win this round. It's going to be tied.
I love Demolition Man.
I love Demolition Man too.
I am not a Total Recall guy at all.
I am a huge Total Recall guy. Who's it's going against? I love Demolition Man. Even has Douche Bigelow, Rob Schneider. In there.
Sandra Bullock is in it. I like Demolition Man a lot. I think this was a fun, goofy, like peak action movie. It's
goofy. Yeah, it's Stallone being a goofy Stallone, and especially after coming off, Oscar and another movie that's going to come up later. This was a good choice for him. I like it a lot. I love the fact that Wesley Snipes played a villain.
Yeah,
in a comedic way. He showed off his martial arts skills, which a lot of people didn't know about him.
Always bet on black, bro.
Yeah, always on black. He also inspired Dennis Rodman to dye his hair, which is why Dennis Rodman started dyeing his hair, was because he saw this movie. The crazy thing I found out about this was that Stallone originally wanted Jackie Chan to play the villain. But in Hong Kong films, if a hero plays a villain, they're automatically looked at as a villain no matter what role they play in. Which is so he decided not to do it because he was at the height of his popularity.
Yeah,
that would have been kind of cool. I love Demolition Man, but when it's going up against this movie,
Get ready for a surprise.
1990s Total Recall, directed by Paul Verhoeven, who also directed RoboCop,
and
Showgirls, Basic Instinct, and it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside, Rachel Chicotin, and Ronnie Cox. I'm sorry. A budget of $65 million, a box office of $261 million. Total Recall is Paul Verhoeven, who also did Starship Troopers. He does great fucking Jesse Ventura movie. Yes, another Jesse Ventura movie. He does great. He does great science fiction movies.
I agree.
This movie is iconic in many ways. The 108 guys used the three boob meme all the time.
Three titties.
The whole Schwarzenegger screaming when he's going through have his mind erased is hilarious. I enjoyed it a lot more. I think it had a better storyline in it. And then at the end, they kind of did like this whole bullshit of was it a dream or not with Quaid. It has more iconic scenes in it, I think, than Quanto. That part. The guy with his 8 to 10 to 12 kids, he always talks about, just when they go into the Bardillo and the tiny person Bardillo stabs somebody. It's one of those movies that's iconic in terms of, it was remade with Colin Farrell and it was not good.
Colin Farrell version is better.
No, it's not.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, and the fact that Paul Verhoeven is the director, this is like one of the movies that popped off. It's like iconic. It's iconic Arnold for me, and that's why I have to go with Total Recall.
I don't disagree that it's iconic Arnold, and this movie has its place in the Parthenon of Sly and Stallone or Sly and Arnold. Like, it's fantastic. It's great. It's just Demolition Man was, to me, like a perfect popcorn summer tentpole movie, and there should have been. I think there should have been more. I think there should have been another Demolition Man.
No, what are you going? They killed the main guy.
You could have done something. You could have done something. It didn't have to be Snipes.
Yeah,
I just think that this was a great movie, and I'm going Demolition Man. I'm sorry.
Jesse Ventura is in Demolition Man too. You're right, Brian. They had Jeffrey Dahmer. Maybe he could have been the bad guy, Demolition Man. But he is mentioned in the movie. I just go with Total Recall because it's more iconic in my opinion. It's just to me, it's a better movie. Also, it has a younger Sharon Stone as his wife, and she's like a badass that tries to kill him.
Yeah, but Sandra Bullock's in Demolition Man. She's a hottie too, bro.
But I'm more of a Sharon Stone fan. But I also Michael Ironside's in this movie, and I like Michael Ironside, another actor who does a lot of obscure roles that doesn't get a lot of credit for what he does.
He was in Starship Troopers.
Yes, he's another great actor. That's why I would go Total Recall in my opinion.
I think we gotta agree to disagree here, Yump. But I don't think either of us are wrong.
Yeah, I think this one I knew that we were probably going to tie on.
Yeah.
The Last Action Hero I knew we were going to tie on because you hate Last Action Hero. But in terms of like, these are both good quality movies. Like this kind of is like the same category as the Copland versus True Lies movies.
I would agree.
It's hard to choose either or. You can't go wrong with whatever you choose. I just knew it was going to be a tie. So for this now, we have Arnold 5, Stallone 4, and 3 ties. So we're coming down to 2 more rounds. The next films do not have audio, and the reason being is because they are pieces of shit. And I didn't. No, I'll take that back. It's on them.
I was like, wait a minute.
The films after this don't have audio. But let's go into our next round.
Great. Mr. I am the law. Can't.
1995's Judge Dredd. Directed by Danny Cannon, who also directed The Cure. He also directed I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, starring Sylvester Stallone, Rob Schneider, Jürgen Prochnow, Diane Lane, Armand Assante, and Max van Sydow. This movie has a budget of $90 million and a box office of $113 million. And I used that clip because my brother specifically asked me to put that clip in here.
I would have been disappointed with any other clip from this movie.
But yeah. So tell me about Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd is like, to me, it's an iconic movie. Like, it's not an upper echelon comic book movie, but it's a Marvel comic book. Stallone is fantastic in it. Rob Schneider's in it. I really, really enjoy Judge Dredd. My cousin Mark got me into Judge Dredd. I think this is a great movie. Like, it's not a great movie, like per se, like, but like it's a fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah, it's fun and entertaining. I personally think the remake is 10 times better because it kind of goes closer material.
Hands down, that remake is fucking fantastic.
But Danny Cannon, the director, has come out and said that he hated working on this movie with with Sylvester Stallone because Sylvester Stallone was just throwing in all his creative differences, and they were just clashing. He wanted this movie to be a little bit more dark, kind of like the movie Dredd that was later released.
Yeah, Carl Urban.
Yeah, he wanted it darker. A lot of people lost their shit when he took off his mask because Dredd is not supposed to take off his helmets. Nope. But besides that, on the cusp of it, this is Rob Schneider when you can kind of stand Rob Schneider when he's not in his like small roles. He's actually the sidekick in this movie, and this is one of his better films.
Is this also when he's like a COVID denier or in like a douchebag?
Yeah,
this is pre-douchebag Rob Schneider?
It's pre-douchebag Rob Schneider.
Douche Bigelow?
Yeah, Douche Bigelow. But yeah, it's I love their chemistry in it. It's good. The dialogue in this movie is fucking horrible.
That's awful. I love his bike though.
Oh, it's by the brakes.
Yeah.
That thing, it looked horrible too. Like the way it looks is so bad. It hasn't aged well, but a person that doesn't get a lot of credit in this movie is Armand Assante. And Armand Assante it was awesome in the HBO version of Gotti. So if you haven't seen that's the best.
Travolta. He's no Travolta.
Yes. Very good movie. But in this movie, he's hilarious too when they go, you broke the law. Like their dialogue is so bad, but he plays it like hilariously to me. I definitely if you haven't seen Judge Dredd, check it out. But don't think you're gonna see a classic movie. It's fucking stupid.
It's pretty dumb, but it's entertaining.
And it's going up against this one.
You want to fuck with me? You think you know bad, huh? You're a fucking choir boy compared to me. A choir boy.
1999's End of Days, directed by Peter Hyams, who also directed Outland, Jean-Claude Van Damme's Time Cop, and The Relic. Starring Sylvester Stallone, Gabriel Byrne, Robin Tunney, CCH Pounder, Rod Steiger, and Kevin Pollak. So tell me about End of Days.
Well, so I'm a big fan of any movie that has to do with Satan. No, like I am really I like The Exorcist and like shit like that. This had a very I'm not comparing it to The Exorcist because that's a fucking fantastic movie, but like Robin Tunney from The Craft is chosen to have Satan's child in this movie. And it's about the Antichrist and about Satan, and it's fucking fun and it's creepy, and I liked this movie. I don't think I liked it as much as I enjoyed watching Judge Dredd, but like it was an enjoyable movie, and it was something different for Arnold. It wasn't a normal shoot 'em up action flick.
Yes, Dougie, that is her name, CCH Pounder. But so like you said, you kind of like stole my thunder a little bit with the this is a different thing for Arnold. No, that's totally fine. We're just in sync here. Like it's totally a different role Arnold plays. Yes, he plays a cop, but this kind of like showcases a little bit of Arnold's acting skills, a little bit. A person who's going through grief, a person that's annoyed, that just basically walking through life hoping to die. I really like Kevin Pollak's sidekick role in here. He's another person that can go either way as a good guy or bad guy, and I thought that was greatly done. Gabriel O'Brien is really a great actor no matter what he does. I thought he did a pretty good role as Satan. The story I thought was very good, and spoiler alert, this is the only movie I think in Arnold's filmography is where he dies.
Oh,
yeah, I think this is the only movie he dies, and which is when I saw this movie in theater, and I thought it was good when I saw it, and when he died at the end, I was like, holy shit, like Arnold dies? But it kind of made sense with the story. Comparing it to Judge Dredd, I like End of Days, but I basically, with my vote on this one, which one would I watch more if it's on, or which one would I pop on more? That's probably Judge Dredd because it's fucking stupid.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, and it's a guilty pleasure. So for this round, I have to give it to Sly.
I would agree.
Cool. Okay, so that means that we are all tied up here.
Wow.
We are 5-5 with 3 ties. So that's pretty crazy because now we are going into these 2 movies that are fucking horrible in my opinion. And I could not find sound for them. To be honest with you, I didn't really want to find sound for them.
I don't blame you.
But, they're just so bad. I don't think they warrant sound here on the Yumper and Svo. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the first one. 1992's Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, directed by Roger Spitwoody, fun name there, who also directed The Sixth Day, Turner and Hooch, Terror Train, which is actually a really good movie if you haven't seen that one, and Ripley Underground. The movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Estelle Getty, Martin Ferrero, and Jobeth Williams. And it's going up against Junior, which is directed by Ivan Reitman, who also directed Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Twins, and Stripes. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, Emma Thompson, and Frank Langella. So Sly's movie had a budget of $45 million and a box office of 70, while Junior had a budget of 60 and a box office of 108. So not a lot of money made. And for the fact that Junior had a box office of 108, I'm giving it to Junior just for that clean fact. But Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, it's fucking horrible. I tried rewatching it. It's just very bad. I couldn't even find like a digital copy. I was actually going through torrents to find it. But it's just bad. I was watching clips. It's horrible. Junior is something weird in terms of they took Mr. Muscles, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and made him get pregnant. The fact that it has Danny DeVito in it kind of wins it for me because it's like a pairing of Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger again because they were on Twins. So that's why I'm giving it to Junior. Stop My Mom Will Shoot, just a horrible movie. What about you, Swell?
Yump, I'm going to give it to Stop or My Mom Will Shoot purely because, now hear me out, Junior is fucking creepy. The concept of this movie is creepy. It's disturbing. Arnold Schwarzenegger with a pregnant belly in the poster, it's disturbing, right? Like, I get Ivan Reitman was trying to recapture the magic of Twins, but no, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to give it to Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I'm going to go with what Brian said. I'm going to go Push because both of these movies have no redeeming qualities. So if you want to give this to Arnold, cool. But I think that neither of these movies deserve a W. These are both awful.
I'll give it to Arnold because it's got Danny DeVito and Arnold in it and it has Ivan Reitman who directed it, and it made $108 million at the box office. Also, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, Sylvester Stallone considers that his worst film he's ever done.
Well, and the only reason that I'm okay with it is the story behind Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. That Arnold read the script and knew he wasn't going to do it, but he told Stallone that he was considering it, and Stallone jumped on it to just so Arnold didn't get it. So like Arnold gets a point just based on that.
Yes. So these are two horrible movies. We're gonna go with Arnold going up 6-5 with 3 ties over Sly. So that's 6-5 Arnold and 3 ties. And now we're gonna go into our main event. 2 iconic franchises. Let's go with the first one.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
The Rocky franchise, and that's going up against
Hasta la vista, baby.
the Terminator franchise. So let me put a little caveat here. We are only going Rocky 1 through 6. We are not concluding the Creed series because that's a different. Even though Rocky is a predominantly good character in there, we're not using that because we're just going straight Rocky Stallone. Those are Stallone vehicles. Creed is not Stallone vehicle. And for the Terminators, we're going to include all of them because Arnold was in all of them. So, Swole, let me give you a little stats on this. So, the Rocky franchise has made $1.3 billion worldwide compared to the Terminator franchise, which made $2 billion. Rocky also had more films, which is kind of crazy. Terminator made more money. Rocky won an Oscar for Best Picture. Terminator 2 also won an Oscar for Best Editing and Effects. I would have to say I love Rocky. I'm a huge fan of Rocky. Rocky is one of my favorite movies. It's not my top 10, but it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Stallone movies. I have to go with more iconic in terms of the director. The sequel and this franchise is better than the original, in my opinion, and that's very hard to do because Rocky 2 was not better than Rocky 1, in my opinion. Rocky also kind of went downhill in terms of it was more play for the character. It wasn't really for storyline. I thought Terminator Dark Fate was actually better than people gave us credit for. And I thought Terminator 3 Rise of Machines was better than people give credit for. I also like the Terminator with Christian Bale, Survivor. I don't think it's horrible. I just think that Terminator was treated gentlier in terms of franchise, although I do love Rocky Balboa. But I would have to give this one to Arnold for the Terminator franchise. What about you?
So this hurts. This hurts emotionally. I think that Rocky has more movies that I enjoy. Like in terms of like 1 through 6. I know we're not talking the Creed movies, but I think that Terminator and Terminator 2 are 2 of the best sci-fi movies to ever exist. And they did time travel and, before the MCU got a hold of it. And Terminator 2 is just fucking iconic. Today's its anniversary of its release too.
Yes.
I'm going to go, it hurts me to do this, but I'm going to go the Terminator franchise purely based on T1 and T2 and also Christian Bale in Terminator Salvation.
Nice.
So I got to go Terminator franchise. It just based on T1 and T2 alone. I think Terminator Genesis was cheeks. I think, what was it? Dark Fate?
Dark Fate was the last one, yes.
Dark Fate was the last one. I got to go. I'm going to go Terminator. Yep. Arnold wins this.
Yeah, I would have to go with Terminator. Just like, I like Rocky. But like I said, I think the story in Terminator is a little bit more better.
No, I don't like Rocky. I love the Rocky movies. But I think that you have James Cameron in the 2 most iconic sci-fi movies ever made. Like the pure pop culture references that you get from both of these movies, like not just Terminator, but especially from Terminator. I think Terminator gets the W here.
Yeah, I have to go with Terminator as well. It's just more iconic. I love both franchises. They're both good. But Arnold takes this. So Arnold beats Stallone by taking the score 7-5 with 3 ties. Now, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Even though we gave each person 2 points on each side, if we take that away, Arnold still will win 5-3. But looking at their filmography, if I had to choose between the two, just out there I would say that Arnold actually has a better career because he picks better roles that are more suited to him.
Yeah, I
Stallone
think
kinda goes out of his element, which is fine as an actor, but I think Arnold just has a better like tightening of it between his movies over Stallone.
in the 80s and the 90s, I absolutely agree. I think that I know Arnold retired to do politics and stuff like that, but I think that like if we would have included the work that Arnold did on Creed 1 and Creed 2 and some of his
Stallone?
other Stallone, yeah, if and some of his other movies that he's done recently, I don't know. Like it's like this is just so iconic, man. These are characters that we like, or actors that we grew up with, and they're just perfect, man. These are like, this is just video store nostalgia that's perfect to me, and I'm still gonna go Arnold. Yeah,
So my brother says flawed logic. If you're doing an entire franchise, how can you pick the franchise where he literally said just multiple Terminator movies? But yeah, multiple Terminator movies are. He didn't really say multiple Terminator movies are bad. He just said that Genesis was bad. It's only one.
yeah,
Uh, But there's, I mean, it's Rocky 3 is good for Mr. T, and Rocky 4, like Rocky 5 is not that great. I don't think Rocky 2 is that great either. I think the storyline was okay, but I don't think it's like following up Rocky.
I also think though Rocky is the greatest sports movie ever made, and that gives him some sort of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just so
Well, Rocky
tough.
he's in the Hall of Fame, but like in terms of like movies I enjoy, I have to go with Terminator over Rocky. And I love Rocky. Like I watch Rocky anytime it's on, anything with Rocky. I just think that Terminator made a more of a bigger impact. Like I said, I think that the caveat that gives us Terminator for me is the fact that Terminator 2, a sequel, is better than the original. And that's very hard to do. And it's considered by a lot of people, like film critics, like people, Joes like me, that one of the greatest sci-fi films, if not the greatest sci-fi film of all time.
I would agree. No, like
Yeah.
I get it. I get it completely. I'm looking at some of the ones that we missed. Like I think Jingle All the Way is like Dougie's saying it right now, and I said it earlier. Like Jingle All the Way is an iconic Christmas movie. We missed Assassins. We didn't talk about Oscar.
Yeah, no, Oscar
like,
was.
You know what? You know we fucked up too, man. We missed Tango and Cash. We could have went Tango and Cash versus Red Heat. Like,
Tango and Cash would have won.
Well, yeah. I mean, Over the Top still won too, but like,
Commando. We left out Commando because
we did leave Commando out, which I'm not sure why.
Because we could have went Commando versus Rambo, and Rambo's going to be Commando.
And Rambo also had 4 sequels.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard. Some of these matches were kind of hard to do.
That's why we did Rambo versus Conan, because there were multiple of both of them. I'll tell you what one I did like. I liked Grudge Match with him and who was in Grudge Match? De Niro, him and De Niro, and Kevin Hart, the boxing movie. It was entertaining. They're both like, I don't know, they're both just iconic. I'm still gonna go with Arnold. Just based on T1 and T2.
Yeah, we talked Raw Deal, Shankster. We talked Raw Deal. But like I said, we took Red Heat over Raw Deal. Just like to give it something like Raw Deal is basically same thing as Red Heat. They're both in Chicago, but they're going against the mob instead of Russians this time. So they're kind of the same movie. But yeah, it's a tough one, man. Like it's crazy because last time when we did this, I thought Van Damme was going to beat Seagal easily, and Seagal beat Van Damme.
I know, it's crazy. I think this one's a better matchup though.
Yes. So if you guys like these kind of matchups, let us know like who you want to see us do one on. I kind of like this. It's a little more time consuming to do these because it's a lot of movies crammed into one. So when I release the notes, it's not going to be like a ton of notes like I usually do. I have some, but this is a nice little mix up of how we do things. And these are two iconic actors. It's crazy that they're both in their 70s, so they might not be with us very long going forward. I know it's sad to say, but it's just, I was looking at this the other day. So like Joe Pesci's in his late 70s, Robert De Niro's in his late 70s.
I watched The Irishman the other day, and I was like, wow, Pesci is like,
yeah, Scorsese's old, Arnold's old, Sylvester Stallone's old. It's just, all the people that we grew up are De Niro versus Pacino.
That would be a good one.
That'd be
I just got a text. I got a text on my phone from a friend of the show and the most handsome man on White Sox Twitter, Dougie. And our our show's in the background on his TV with fantastic cue lighting, by the way, Dougie, and his Turbo Man action figure. So I love that. I love that. Dougie, I hope you don't mind if I tweet that from the Yumper and Svo account, but I'm going
to. Don't mind, Dougie. I'm just going to tweet it. No. Spags, that would actually be a good one, but it's a little like the Matrix series is actually 4 and 4. So yeah, we can maybe do a mini one off that.
I do think Yumper and I have talked about a Keanu Reeves episode where we talk about his movies, his highlights. Maybe not Matrix versus John Wick, but maybe I could see that.
Yeah. So, De Niro versus Pacino is a good one.
It is.
We'll
put it in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the notes. But thank you guys for watching this one. We still got a little bit more of the show left. We're gonna try something new today, but this is I know the meat and potatoes of the show. So let's get into a new segment that's Mr. Swoboda start up, and it's called News and Rumors. We'll have a graphic next time to put up there.
Yeah, I'll figure something out.
But Swole wanted to talk about the news and movies and television going around and rumors. So Swole, tell me about what you wanted to talk about today, my man.
Yeah, we got a couple of cool things in terms of rumors. Todd McFarlane is talking about a new Spawn movie. So Yump, I wanted to pick your brain on that. Do you want to see a new Spawn movie, or are you happy with the Michael Jai White version? Like, I personally think that the Michael Jai White, Todd McFarlane Spawn from, I forgot what year it came out, was perfect. Like
98?
90, yeah, 98, 97, 98.
97.
I think that movie's great. Like, it's corny, just like Judge Dredd in some places, but John Leguizamo's fantastic in it. Michael Jai White's great in it. Martin Sheen is in it. I'm a big fan of that. So how do you feel? Do you want to see a new Spawn movie? Are you good with what we got?
So originally, I don't see Spawn's a character that I think that I used to think that they would mess up because he's an anti-hero. McFarlane's like, his whole literature for Spawn is very dark. I thought the Michael Jai White movie was good, and I thought some of the graphics actually hold up to today, the CGI one that they used for the effects. I thought John Leguizamo stole the show in that movie as Clown. I didn't think they should have remade it until I saw the Spawn animation that they released on HBO, which I think is very good.
That's one of my favorite HBO miniseries.
Yeah, it's closer to the source material. Then I started hearing McFarlane was thinking about doing another live action. And when I was looking at it, they're actually considering, well, they were until he had some health problems, was Jamie Foxx playing the role of Spawn.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would have done because when I see Jamie, I see him as more of a comedic. He could be a serious actor. He's won Oscars, but I don't see him as like that badass dude, that can be Spawn. To be honest with you, I probably would have went with the guy who played Marvel actor that's in trouble right now.
Oh, Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors before he got into his, personal demons.
Well, and
personal issues.
I would have went with another Marvel character, and I know he's cast and everything right now. And, but the way he played Killmonger in Black Panther, I would have went Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. I could see him as well.
Yeah, just because of how he played Killmonger. Because Spawn is not like a good guy.
No, he's definitely not. Yeah, so I think it depends. Like, I if McFarlane's behind it and McFarlane has say of who he cast and how the story is written,
yeah,
I am all for it. But
Okay.
if it's gonna be another DC Marvel shit show, where it's fan service, then no. Like,
Agreed.
I want fan service, but I want a good story because Spawn is something that, and it has to be rated R. It can't be PG-13. It has to be a rated R movie, because Spawn is not a character for kids.
I agree completely. And like, you got to bring the clown back. Like, you have to.
I would have gone Bobcat Goldthwait
with. Yep, I agree. So we have two more topics in news and rumors. They announced a new casting for Superman for was it Superman Legacy? I think it's called. His name is David Corenswet, and he has been in a few movies. He's going to be in the new Twister remake. And he is in a movie. He was in Pearl, which was a sequel or a prequel to X, the horror movie that came out a year or so ago. But he's going to be the new Superman, and we'll tweet a picture of what he looks like. I just want to know what you think of the casting physically so far. Have you seen him, Yump?
Yeah, I have seen that they released it. They have him, they have a new Lois Lane. There's actually there was who was the person they were actually Brendan Fraser playing Superman's dad.
Superman's dad, Pa Kent, yeah.
Yeah, it's being rumored. Personally, I would have stuck with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, so like, man, I get it. I just think like you have to separate yourself so far from that clusterfuck that was the DC.
I understand, but I think James Gunn could have done it because I think he deserves. I agree. Look what he's done with the Witcher series.
Oh, I agree. He's fantastic.
I think and fans want him back. Like that's the thing. Like it's not like people knew his movies were bad.
Yeah.
But they want him back.
They want him back because he's like an iconic looking Superman.
Yeah, I think I would have went back with him. Lois Lane, I mean, you had Amy Adams as Lois Lane. It could have been, it's fine switching him. And if, I know he wants to start with a Superman movie, but he could have did the Supergirl movie. And I actually thought the girl who played in Flash, what's her name?
Yeah.
Sasha Calle, who was the first Latina Superwoman.
She was good.
Could have been. We could have done a movie with her. Like I thought she was very good. I'm getting a lot of mixed feelings with James Gunn's taking of the role because of this whole franchise, because I think he's just shitting. I know he's shitting on everything to get it all away. He wants to clean it all off, start new. But I think you do have good elements in there that you can build off. And I don't think it's tearing it down completely is going to work, in my opinion.
He's also got like 35 different branches going on. Like there's going to be a separate Batman. There's going to be a Batman Brave and the Bold. There's going to be a Batman in the DC universe, so they can combine all them. So like I'm scared, but I'm also curious.
So let's see. Dougie has a question for us. So I've got a question for you. So I've yet to watch any Marvel movies, and I've seen a bunch of different thoughts on how to watch them order-wise. Well, Dougie, that was going to be one of our episodes, a Marvel movieverse episode. That would probably have to be a 2-parter because there's like so many.
Oh, that might be like a fucking 7-parter.
Yeah. In my opinion, the first movie to watch is Iron Man.
I would agree.
Downey Jr. steals the show, sets the tone going forward. Iron Man is probably the first one you want to start off with. You can go through the Iron Man. I think it goes from Iron Man to Iron Man 2, and then it goes to Captain America. My personal opinion, Captain America is probably the weakest movie.
It's long.
Very long. I love Hugo Weaving. I just think it's the weakest in terms of. I think they kind of did Chris Evans. I think Winter Soldier was better. They kind of did Chris Evans dirty.
Yeah, Winter Soldier was really more of like a spy espionage movie that I really, really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Dougie, I think like you can watch those movies in the order that they were released. I know the storyline is non-linear, but Marvel does a good job of backsplaining stuff and telling you what's going on or what you might have missed. So maybe just I would go in like release order. I don't think you need to go chronological.
Yeah, I would just go in release order too. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna watch a movie like to start off, I just like the Iron Man. I think the Iron Man sets a tone for me.
I would agree.
But yeah, you want to go. There's lists out there, Dougie. I can send you one. And you're not going to enjoy it. To be honest with you, it's going to take you like a month to watch all of them.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy task.
Not including the series,
Right. Well, and I've skipped some of the series.
Yeah, I've been keeping up. I haven't watched the new one that just came out, but I've been keeping up with them.
Right.
But yeah, that's just my opinion. But like back to James Gunn, like I think James Gunn is also, I basically said he's shutting everything down. And in terms of the Batman, I just think they should just keep Pattinson and just roll with Pattinson.
Well, the Batman's going to be a completely separate thing. That's going to be a complete different trilogy, just like the Dark Knight series was. But they're going to do a Brave and the Bold. They're going to do. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that because when Nolan did his Batman series, there's no other Batmans going on.
There weren't, but there also weren't. I mean, there were some, but there weren't a million other comic book movies or universes to compete with.
But I mean, like you're watering down Batman.
No,
like,
you're not. You can never water down Batman. I need more Batman,
dude. Like in all seriousness, like I don't need fucking 10 different people playing Batman. Just give me one Batman. I'll watch as many movies as you want with Pattinson right now.
My guess is, and I think that they're going to do 2 more movies with Pattinson as Batman, and I don't think they're going to reintroduce. And Gunn said this the other day. He's like, "We are so far away from a different Batman besides Pattinson that it's not even funny. The character that they have to get right is Superman. They have to get Superman right, and they have to get his movies up off the ground before they do anything.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Superman's fallen down since the Reeve days.
Right. Like they have to get him off the ground before they do anything. And if they want to do another Flash movie or a Green Lantern movie or like whatever, while you're reintroducing all these characters, and Batman is last on that list because you have enough content with Pattinson's trilogy to make it last. And then that could be a standalone trilogy, just like The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Do Frank Miller's Batman.
I mean, I'm okay with that too. Like any Batman to me is going to be fun to watch.
That's kind of like what The Dark Knight was based off, though.
Yeah.
Because there's elements from the comic book, from the graphic novel.
Yeah, Nolan took his own stuff. I got one last news and rumor that I want to talk to you about, Yump.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people on Twitter, and I'm talking about Twitter in the grand scheme of things, not White Sox Twitter, not anything. I'm talking about are going to do a double feature in 2 weeks, and they're going to go see Oppenheimer and then Barbie on the same day. They're calling it Barbenheimer. And are you going to partake in that?
Fuck no. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want, like, Margaret Robbie, great actress. I don't want to see Barbie. Unless we had to review something for it, like somebody's like our our listeners are like, hey, we want to review on Barbie. I'm probably not gonna see that movie. I'm sorry. I have no interest in seeing it. It doesn't appeal to me. She can do her own thing. I understand the crowd. Oppenheimer is a Christopher Nolan film. I told you about it when I saw it that I wanted to go see it. Like I'm a huge Nolan nerd. Like Nolan's one of my favorites. But Barbie, and second of all, like to sit through Oppenheimer's gonna be 3 hours long, and then have to go sit through a Barbie movie. Fuck that, man. No, that's just too much for me. What about you?
Yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in San Francisco because we are going to take a hiatus here in a couple weeks for a few weeks while I am on my little 3-week baseball trip. Yumper, please don't hate me, but I just threw a poll up on our Twitter account. Should Yumper see Barbie? Yes or no?
I will not follow that poll. I'm sorry. I'm not going to see it. But you know what? Brian, Dougie and Brian have this thing going in our chat. They're saying they'll have our own Marvel book club and watch 2 to 3 a week and drink a bunch of wine. They should do that. And you know what? If you guys want, if it's okay with you, Swole, we can have a segment of their thoughts on Marvel. That could be our Marvel segment. Their thoughts on the Marvel movies they watched, and we can discuss them.
I love it. I love it. If they're both into it, I love it.
Yeah, we can pull you in once a show or every other show, and you guys tell us the movies you watched, and we'll discuss them.
I wish I wasn't out of town because I would do Barbenheimer with Brian. I would like, hey Brian, let's go get some Kentucky Fried Chicken, and let's go see Barbenheimer.
Yeah, so guys, reach out to us. Let us know. Shankster says he's seeing Barbie. Yo, man, like I said, I know what crowd it's like pointed to, but I just don't have any interest in seeing it. It just doesn't interest me. I mean, I don't hate on it. I just don't. No,
and I get it. Like, there's a bunch of those movies like where I get it, but like a lot of people are talking about doing that back-to-back double feature. But they say you got to start off with Oppenheimer because if you go to bed after seeing that depressing 3-hour Nolan flick, you're gonna have Requiem for a Dream type thoughts.
Yes, and I'm really hoping that Cillian Murphy gets nominated for an Oscar. I hope this movie propels him because I think he deserves to have some higher recognition.
I saw the trailer in IMAX yesterday when I went to go see Indiana Jones, and it just looks better and better every time I see the trailer.
Man, you went to go see the movie that we can.
Well, I did it with Top Gun last year too.
I know.
Yeah, don't let Yumper fool you. I got his permission before I did it.
Yes, he did. But you know, that's a good thing you said that because July 15th, for everybody who reserved a seat at the Yumper and Svo event, we are sold out. So not sold out, we're filled up because everything is free. It's our thank you to you guys. July 15th is the day of the movie. We have created a group chat on Twitter that announced when and where the movie is. So if you're not part of that group chat, please reach out to me or Swole on Twitter. You can email us either way, or just hit us up at Yumper and Svo on Twitter.
Yep.
If you have our numbers, please text us and tell me what your Twitter handle name is, please, and your real name.
Tony.
Yeah. But just so we can get everything set, because everything we're ready to go. We will be there. There's talks about maybe going to see the Sox game afterwards at a bar close by. We don't know yet, but please, if you haven't been in that chat and know what's going on, please reach out to us because it's only 2 weeks away Well, actually less than 2 weeks away from yesterday. And we're really looking forward to having you guys there. I just wanted to throw that out there, Swole, thank you for reminding me.
You're all good.
For that. But Swole, so those are the news and rumors. I actually like this segment. I think we should do it more. We can, it's a nice little switch up of what because we usually just go through our list and talk about our movies back and forth. And this is like give us a little more rounded of what's going on.
If you guys hear any news or rumors and you want us to talk about it, get our thoughts on it, send us a DM, Yumper and Svo, or Little Yumper, or Doughboy Svo. We'll talk about it. We'll put it in there. We're going to try to keep it to like 3 topics for news and rumors, just so we can keep it moving. But I think this was fun. I'm glad that you liked this segment.
Yes, I did. But with that, let's move on to what our coming soon is. So, Swole, you have a great idea. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
So we did not pick this topic until we went on air, and I texted Yumper next week, or when we decide to record again. I would like to record before I leave for 3 weeks. We're going to do R-rated comedies. So a bunch of R-rated comedies are coming out this summer. You had No Hard Feelings. Was that the one that I just watched? That was, but then you have Joyride, and you have Strays. So there's a bunch of R-rated comedies. We want to talk about our favorite R-rated comedies. We want to know what your favorite R-rated comedies are, and then we're going to have an episode. I think, what do you say? We do 10, Yump?
Yeah, we can do 10.
We'll do 10, 5 and 5. Yeah,
5 and 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can do that. It's going to be a fun one, a nice and easy one for us to get out. Also, looking forward, like I'll be releasing the next martial arts gems will be coming out probably within a week or so.
Speaking of martial arts gems, Yumper, you got over 11,000 views on your Unleashed video.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Thank you. That movie was one of my personal favorites. I'm a big martial arts nerd, so I'll be doing another one coming out soon. I have more time to work on it now. And I have some stuff in the works that probably blog and a small little mini videos or mini broadcasts I might be doing. Not entirely to movies, maybe something with series I might be doing. So we'll see.
Dope.
Coming up. But Swole has stuff in the works too. So Sadistic Penguin Studio is going to have a lot more content coming out. A little bit different from what we're doing, not baseball. Of course we do movies here. We have Tony, who does an excellent job with music, and we have Brian, who does Getting Drafty. You have Roxy and Alexis doing stuff, and Pete with his collections. So we do a little something different that's normally not really baseball related. We are looking to branch out into something a little bit different as well with us too.
We all have, that's kind of brings me to my closing thought, if you're okay with it, Yump. We all have, man, look at that face. We all have like tons of different interests. Like everyone in our group chat loves baseball. They love the White Sox. They love baseball in general. All kinds of sports. Just be on the lookout for all the different things that we have going on, and it's very, very exciting. I would love to have Dougie on for a food episode and also the Marvel episode. Johnny wants to come on. If you want to come on, we want you on. We want you to talk movies with us. If it's a topic that you're passionate about, just hit us up and we'll bring you on. On that note, guys, thanks for tuning in. This was a fun episode, and we'll see you next week. Deuces.
Have a good night, guys, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for listening to Yumper and Svo, a Sadistic Penguin Studios production.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.